morning.
Good morning. Maddie, you have 10 members and Thomas and myself online, so you have 12 total, and you're at 12:36. Do you want to start or you want to wait a few more minutes?
I think we need to wait. We need to get started. And as the others come in, they'll just join us. I don't want to hold Thomas up too long. He's a working man.
That's all right. That's what I'm here for.
Okay. Maybe just have a few moment of silence, please, and then the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of
America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for
and
all.
justice for
With
all.
liberty.
Justice for all.
All right. Thank you, and welcome to everyone who has joined us today. We're very glad that you're here. And Norma will now introduce our speaker.
I have had the pleasure of speaking first on the telephone with Mr. Thomas Stemner from the Edgecombe County Health Department. He is the coordinator of health services for Edgecombe County. I'm so happy to announce that he's a fellow Tar Heel. Nice to know that you returned to Eastern North Carolina, but he's now living, I'm assuming, Thomas, in Tarboro. And so we're pleased to have him. And yeah, not at the moment. You don't want to live in Tarboro. It's such a nice little town. You're welcome to come to Rocky Mount. When I first called Edgecombe County Health Department, I talked with the director of the entire health department. She said, I have just the person for you. She said he will be able to answer all of the questions. And I had said to him prior that we can all receive information from the CDC and the FDA and from the governor's office, but we wanted down-to-earth level talking to we people. So I think with a couple of questions that I had sent to him, he could tell that we need some more down-to-earth answers. So, Mr. Stemner, I'm turning it over to you. Thank you for coming.
All right. Thank you all for having me. Like Norma said, my name is Thomas Stemner, and I work with the Edgecombe County Health Department as the coordinator of health services. So today, I'm going to be talking to you all about the COVID-19. And let's see, Henry, if you could file the presentation.
I have already transferred it to you.
Okay.
So if you just show your screen, you should be good.
All right. Do you see the PowerPoint? Not yet.
No.
No.
Let me try again. Just a second. You're
Okay.
all right.
There we go.
And there they are. See it now. Sorry about that. For some reason but it is there. Thank you.
Okay. There we go. All right. So like I said, today I'll be talking to you all about the COVID-19 virus and kind of what's going on, specifically for Edgecombe County. So this first slide here is going to be just some statistics. These are the most current numbers as of yesterday. So in Edgecombe County, we've had a total number of 6,945 positive cases, and that's since the very beginning. We've had 123 deaths in Edgecombe County, and the number of new positive cases in the last 2 weeks has been 923 cases. The number of hospitalizations at Vidant Edgecombe Hospital is at 14 right now. And it doesn't specify whether they're Edgecombe County residents or Nash County or, kind of where those individuals are from. But that is the information that we have from the local hospital. And the percent fully vaccinated for Edgecombe, we're at 39%. And that equates to about 20,000 people who are fully vaccinated. So that's, much lower than the whole state. And we're trying to get those numbers up. So we've been doing a lot of outreach and stuff about all of this. Any questions about these numbers real quick?
1,240.
All right. And there will be an opportunity for questions at the very end. So if you have any questions, just feel free to ask me at the end. So just a quick overview. So coronaviruses, you hear the coronavirus. The coronavirus is actually a large family of viruses. So some of those in that family are the common cold, the SARS virus, the Middle East respiratory syndrome, and also now COVID-19. What makes COVID-19 so special is that it's a novel virus, which means it's brand new. So a lot of people hear of, the common cold and stuff like that. You hear about that every year. COVID-19 is a new virus as of 2019. And so you'll start hearing about this, more often now. And it was first discovered in Wuhan, China in December of 2019. So as far as the transmission, so initially they had thought that it came from an animal market, as a lot of people probably heard. A lot of people thought that it came from like the bats and like some type of bat soup and stuff like that. But after there was some investigation done, they did find that it was spread person to person, and it was located at that market. And it's just because there were so many people at the market that they thought that that's how that had spread. So it actually came from some person, and it spread to another person through respiratory droplets. That is the only way that this virus is known to spread, is through respiratory droplets. So you can't get it through sweat or anything like that. So basically, if you cough or you sneeze, or even if you talk or something like that, that emits some sort of droplets, and those can be spread to others, whether it's through the air, or these droplets can sit on a hard surface. And if a person touches that surface and touches their mouth or their nose or eyes, there's a possibility of it getting into that person, and then you can become infected that way. So this is why you're seeing the recommendations for 6 feet physical distance between everyone, is because typically these droplets will fall to the floor within 6 feet. So it's not really long range transmission. So some symptoms of the COVID-19 virus, they estimate that the incubation period is between 2 and 14 days. So a lot of times that's why, when people say to get tested 5 days after you've become exposed. And this is why, is because these symptoms can, come about 5 days, somewhere between 2 and 14 days. So with the average being 5. And if you get tested the day after you were exposed, there might not be enough of it in your system to show that you are positive. So you'll get a negative test and you'll think that you're good to go, and you'll go out to Walmart or something like that, and you could potentially be spreading it to someone else, and you could get sick at a later time. So that's what I think a lot of people don't really understand too well. Is why do I have to wait if I know that I got exposed, or if a family member is positive or something like that? And you also have to think that a lot of people become infected and they don't have any symptoms at all. You've seen a lot of that, where a lot of people just feel perfectly fine, they might have a little bit of runny nose or something like that. May think that it's allergies, but it very well could be the COVID-19 virus. And so below all this, these are the other common side effects that or symptoms of COVID-19. So fever and chills, coughing, having a shortness of breath or difficulty breathing. If you're just generally just tired for no particular reason, that could be another indicator. Constant headache, nasal congestion, or a runny nose. Muscle aches, sore throat. One that we hear a lot is the loss of taste or smell. And a lot of people, when they lose this taste or smell, even like months later, they're still not able to smell or taste right. So I don't know if you know anybody who's had COVID-19 and has had this happen to them, but we have a lot of people who still can't taste or smell like they could beforehand. And, they're not really sure if that will ever return or really what that's going to look like, because this is a very new virus. So there's still a lot of research being done on it. You might also have nausea or vomiting and possibly diarrhea as well. So these are the most common. As you know, with viruses, things do change over time, and these symptoms could, turn into some other things as well, at a later time. But as of right now, this is kind of what we know. So as far as testing goes, it's recommended 5 days after exposure. If you are symptomatic, if you have any of those symptoms, it's okay to get tested then. You don't want to wait until you're like in the hospital to, have to go and get tested. But if you start, coughing or you feel tired or something like that, it's perfectly okay to go ahead and get tested. So we've seen that a lot. As you can see, this test tube here. So that one is going to be what's called the PCR test. And so the PCR, it stands for polymerase chain reaction. So that's the one that we have to send off to the lab, and it takes like 2 to 3 days to come back. This is the most accurate method of testing for the coronavirus. And then the one below it is what a rapid test would look like. It's sort of similar to what sort of like a pregnancy test looks like. It's pretty much the same concept. You basically, do the swab, and then you put it into the solution, and if there's a positive, then it will, it'll draw the line. So the C down there on the little test tube right here, that stands for control, and the T right here stands for the test. So if that line is dark like that is, then that's definitely a positive. And if you are negative, there would be nothing right here. So that's kind of how that works. There is a high rate of false positive or false negatives with the rapid test. So a lot of times if we do a rapid test, we'll also do the PCR test just to confirm whatever results it is. And the tests are only as good as the moment that you take this test. And the reason why is, you could go ahead and take the test. So like we're doing drive-through testing at our Rocky Mount office right now on Wednesdays from 10 to 2. And so if you come to the drive-through and you get tested, we do the PCR test, and, they leave and go off to Walmart or something like that. They could possibly become exposed in Walmart, and they could be positive, but in 2 to 3 days when you call them with the results and tell them that they're negative, they're going to think that they're perfectly okay, don't have to wear a mask or anything like that. And reality is that they could very well be positive, and it might take a couple more days for it to, set in, because they may have been exposed at Walmart. So that's just an example that I like to use, because a lot of people, kind of think that once you get a negative, you're good. But the negative is really just as good as it is in that moment. And I mean, if you were to go home and you sat home until you got your test results back, that's all fine and dandy. You're still negative, or you should be. But if if you go out anywhere, then your test is pretty much no good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so as far as protection goes, everybody knows about masks, having to wear a mask and all of that. So there's a number of ways to protect yourselves against the COVID-19. Really, the biggest things are just avoiding touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, avoiding close contact with people who are sick. And remember that some people without symptoms can still spread the virus. So if you're feeling perfectly fine, there's a possibility you still may have the virus in you and you can be able to spread it to others. If you feel sick or you are sick, there's really no need to go out to work or go out and about. Just stay home, get well, focus on your health. And then be sure to cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue and then dispose of properly. I know, a lot of times during this pandemic, like I'll make sure like I have tissues on me just in case. And definitely keep hand sanitizer in my pocket or lunchbox or really wherever I am. I at least have it sitting back in the car so that, after a gas station or something like that, you can just, clean your hands real quick and you'll be good to go. One study reviewed by the PNAS, they showed that face masks were 79% effective at preventing the transmission of COVID-19 if they were used by all household members prior to symptoms occurring. The study did not look at the relative risk for different types of masks, but the CDC has looked at the different types of masks. And the ones that they recommend effective are the surgical or procedure masks, which are like the white and blue ones that you typically see around, and also like an N95. So you'll see a lot of N95s in like a healthcare or hospital setting, but those are the two best ones to be wearing.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of people wearing like those gaiters, which are the things that go around your neck, and then you can just kind of pull them up. Those are not effective, based upon the CDC. Just because there's different manufacturers, and they're not quite sure like the tolerances of like how porous they are. So some of these respiratory droplets may still be able to get through, that gaiter or the cloth face covering. Now some people make their own cloth face coverings, and that's great. But it's just really hard for, somebody like the CDC or something like that to recommend wearing a face cloth covering because they don't know really where it's coming from. It could be, a single cloth on one side and that be it. But some of them might be, a double cloth with like a filter in the middle or something like that. So it's really, really hard to recommend those. But if you can, just hold on to your surgical and procedure masks or N95s if you have them. They look like this. The blue on the outside and the white on the inside. This is what they call the surgical or procedure mask. So that's kind of what's recommended. And then always wash your hands with soap and water. I think that kind of goes without saying, but a lot of people just, wash your hands real quick with just some water. You got to be sure to use soap, especially in this time and age. And then just keep a distance between others. 6 feet is recommended because that kind of helps prevent, the transmission of these droplets from one person to the other. Mm-hmm. And surgical masks, they are recommended to be discarded after use. So like if you're using it for a really long time or something like that, it's actually recommended to get rid of them, throw it away, get a new one, because on the outside of your mask, you may have these droplets on the outside of it, and you're taking it off and on, off and on. It gets on your hands possibly, and you might touch your nose or something like that, and it could potentially get to you that way, even though you are trying to do the right thing and wearing your mask. All right, and then now we're on to vaccination. So in the United States, we currently have 3 that are available to us. So we have an EUA, which is an emergency use authorization for all 3 of them. And the vaccines in no particular order, they're going to be the Pfizer or the BioNTech, Moderna, and the Johnson & Johnson, otherwise known as Janssen. So this is the Pfizer, some information about it. If you see the BioNTech, they're just a partnership company. So they help manufacture it with Pfizer. So this is a 2-dose vaccination. They're going to be 21 days apart, and they did receive full approval maybe a week or two ago for 16 years of age or older. So meaning if you're 16 years of age or older, it's basically, you have full approval. So there's really no restrictions, no reason why you can't get it or anything like that. So, I mean, if you're still interested or if you have friends who are interested, you can talk to your doctor about it to see if, if that's going to be something that is an option. But it did receive that, which is good to see that, we're kind of headed in the right direction there. And we still have the EUA, the emergency use authorization for 12 to 15-year-olds. So what an EUA is basically this order from the FDA that says that it is, more beneficial to have this than it is to not. So basically the pros outweigh any sort of cons. And with all of the vaccines, the side effects are very similar to one another. So, there's going to be headaches, chills and fever, arm soreness, and then sometimes there could be a little bit of like nausea or something like that if you typically have that with vaccines. But all of these sort of symptoms and side effects, they'll go away after about 2 days, and you won't even know that you got it after that. And a lot of people you may have seen on social media or something like that where they're like, oh, it's magnetic and this and that and the other, and it's not. There's no heavy metals in it. There's no microchip. The ingredients to all of the vaccines contain just lipids and proteins and, all organic matter for the most part. So, I mean, there's really nothing in it to really be afraid of. And then this one here is going to be some information on the Moderna vaccine. So this one is also a 2-dose vaccination. They're going to be 28 days apart. And this one has an EUA for 18 years of age or older individuals. And this was the first one that was approved or got the EUA from the FDA in the United States. And then Johnson & Johnson, this was the last one to be allowed to be given in the United States. A lot of people call it the J&J, or Janssen. It's really all the same thing. This is a 1-dose vaccination, and it's approved or allowed for 18 years of age or older individuals. So let's see. Henry, I know you were asking about the additional doses, and so I'm kind of in that part right now. So this is going to only be available to those who received Moderna or Pfizer, and they've already completed their 2-dose vaccines. The Johnson & Johnson recipients don't need a booster at this time. There's more research being done on that. And the reason why there's more research being done is because Johnson & Johnson was actually started in the United States 70 days later than either Moderna or Pfizer. So we might hear about this in maybe like 2 months or so, based upon just the way things are going. And the additional dose is going to be for those who have at least 28 days from their last dose, from their second dose. The qualifications for getting the additional one is if you're in active cancer treatment, so if you're undergoing like chemotherapy or something like that, if you're an organ transplant or taking medicines to suppress the immune system, if you receive a stem cell transplant within the last 2 years, then you may be eligible as well. If you have moderate to severe primary immunodeficiency, some examples are listed there: DiGeorge syndrome and Wiskott-Aldrich syndrome. You could talk to your healthcare provider to see, if you have anything that qualifies you for this. If you have an advanced or untreated HIV infection, and if you have active treatment with high-dose corticosteroids or any other drugs that suppress your immune system. So pretty much, if you take anything that affects your immune system, or if you have an illness that affects your immune system, you're pretty much eligible to get the vaccine for the third dose. And so what that's going to look like is pretty much the first people who were eligible to get the shot. If you think back to earlier this year, all the tier 1 people or phase 1, I don't remember exactly how he worded it back then, but that group of people, most of them will be eligible for it.
Okay.
And as far as boosters go, so boosters are going to be for the general public. And so these are going to be for people who are not immunocompromised or anything like that. It's just going to be, for healthy individuals. There's no information on this at this time. They're still doing research to see if it's even going to be recommended for the general public.
They're on the news today.
Yeah. So basically what they're trying to do is keep the most vulnerable people, the people who COVID-19 is going to affect the most, make sure that they're still, have a lot of the vaccine in their system, and they can still have a whole lot of antibodies just in case they do get it. They'll be able to, hopefully fight this off. And just because you have the vaccine does not mean that you prevent the virus. It's really just preventing the severe symptoms. So it's meant to keep you out of the hospital and try to, keep people from dying. That's really the biggest thing about it, but it doesn't necessarily prevent the COVID-19 from affecting you. And all of the vaccines are effective against the most recent variants. One that we hear a lot about is the Delta variant. And this is the most common one now. I know the last 5 weeks, all of the cases in Edgecombe County have been Delta variants. So, I mean, that's what makes this different than the one from, the very beginning is that this one is, it spreads very easily. It's highly transmissible to people, and it spreads very, very quickly. So that's why we're seeing a lot of people get sick. A lot of people get this. And it really is not just, the older folks getting it anymore. It's young people, kids, really everybody. So that's kind of why, you're seeing such a big push for the vaccines and stuff like that now. All right.
You had mentioned testing. Where in
Yeah.
Rocky Mount are they giving the testing?
So we are doing it at 155 Atlantic Avenue, which is the Edgecombe County Health Department. That's our satellite office up there. We do it every Wednesday from 10 to 2 p.m. And it's a drive-through style, so we'll be sitting kind of up there in the front porch area. But if you just pull up in your car, we'll be there. We'll greet you and see if you need the test, and then we'll go ahead and do it. And it's not the one that goes like all the way up into your brain. It's like a little Q-tip. It's just a little swab in one nostril, then 3 or 4 times in the other one. Put it back in the test tube, seal it up, and then that's really it. So it's not the big scary one or anything like that. So I don't know.
That's 125 Atlantic Avenue from 10 until 2?
155.
Oh, 155. Okay.
Yep.
Monday through Friday?
Just on Wednesdays.
Oh, Wednesdays. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And as far as other testing locations, I believe OIC is doing it as well in Rocky Mount. And then I know we have OptumServe in our county, which is a partnership that we're working with. So they are at Heritage Park in Princeville, and also behind City Hall in Pine Tops.
Okay.
Their hours and days do vary, and I don't have that off the top of my head. It might be on our website though,
Okay.
the Edgecombe County Health Department.
Mhm.
But yeah, that would be something that I could possibly grab the flyers for, and I could send them to you, Norma, if that's something that you're interested in.
Okay, that's fine. If I have any interest, I'll run them through Maddie also.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Are
Yes.
all
Do you have any information on Wilson County?
Wilson County?
Yes.
Not off the top of my head. No, I do not. What, as far as like case numbers and stuff like that?
If they're given the booster and when and where?
I would contact the Wilson County Health Department and see what they're doing. They've been doing a lot of shots as well. But yeah, I mean they're a very good health department, and I would call them, and I believe they are doing the additional doses for just for the immunocompromised people. But I mean you could just call them up and see what they say.
Thank you.
Hi, Tom. Gertie. Do you have any information? Sometimes it's virus because they left Delta. Now seemingly they're talking about a Mu. Do you have any information on that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question? You kind of cut out there for a minute.
Okay. Of course, the media. They're talking about a Mu, one of the Greek alphabet virus, the Mu virus. They named it.
Right.
And they say it's worse than the Delta. Do you have any information on that?
No, I don't. Not at this time. I do know that there's like 10 or 12 variants of the virus that they know about, and really just the longer that this goes on, the more variants there will be. And it's looking like the longer it's out and everything like that, the more transmissible and the more severe side effects there are. So yeah, I mean, I don't know anything necessarily about it, but if I had to guess, then yeah, I would say that it's going to be just as bad, if not worse than kind of the Delta variant.
Is your department aware of it?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it in some of the reports, but like we can't really do a whole lot about it just because we have the 3 shots. We have all 3 available, and I mean, we just give them as much as we can. We're doing the shots every Thursday at the health department from 9 to 4 by appointments. We still have the cash cards right now, so if somebody comes and gets their first dose, they get a $100 gift card. If somebody drives a person to get their first dose and stays with them the whole time, they get a $25 gift card. So that's been getting people in the doors, getting people interested in the vaccine. So that's been good. But yeah, I mean, we can only do what we have on hand. And unfortunately, it's been pretty much the same thing since the very beginning. So keep wearing your mask. Stuff like that. I mean, we went back on a mask mandate and everything here as well a while ago. We got off of it for maybe a couple weeks, and then we went right back to wearing the masks, and it's affected a lot of people. So, yeah, I mean, it's everywhere. It's not just out in the general public. I mean, it's really wherever you go, and you might not even know that it's there.
Right.
Could you give us the phone number for the health department number to call if we wanted to make an appointment?
To make an appointment? Yeah. So it's going to be 252 563 4600.
That's Edgecombe County. Is that correct, Thomas?
Yes, that's correct.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be 563 4600.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you might see this flyer out and about. This is a flyer that I created for the for the additional doses. So you might see this on our website or see it somewhere. But it came from us, and yeah, that kind of explains the stuff that we just went over on the slides.
That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good.
Any other questions for me?
Mm-hmm.
You answered all of mine as you presented this information.
Okay.
Yeah, you did.
You did an outstanding job. Thank you.
Yes,
And here's my
definitely.
contact information. If y'all have any questions that come up at a later time or anything like that, just let me know. If you're also in the Edgecombe area and you're part of like any churches or any sort of organizations, let me know if you want to do a vaccine event. I'm also seeing the National Guard that have been assigned to the county, and so I'm coordinating all the vaccine events that are going on for like the outreach and stuff like that.
Mm.
I
Thomas?
had one other question. I was at the Piggly Wiggly store a week or so ago, and there were National Guards there giving out. Were they giving out vaccines? Yeah, they were doing vaccines out there.
Yeah,
So
was
is
that
that
in
something?
that was in Nash County, wasn't it?
No, it was in Edgecombe County here in Tarboro,
Okay, yeah.
the Piggly Wiggly store.
Yeah, I mean, we gave shots there a while ago. I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that a one-time thing or?
Yeah, so pretty much if I just call them up and see if, if we could do one there, we'll show up, we'll do it. And if there's, a lot of people that come and get it, then we'll go back and we'll do it again. But it's just kind of one of those things, just, you try it out and see. But yeah, we're going to probably start doing more grocery stores and stuff like that because the National Guard, they were extended for another month, so we will have them until the end of October now. And so our events are going to start getting a little bit more busy, which is going to be good.
Okay.
Thomas, this is Henry Bratley. If you would be so kind as to send us a copy of your PowerPoint, then when we put up the video, we can add that as a download in addition to it being available on the video. That'd be greatly appreciated. My email is Bratley, B-R-A. Tell me when you're ready to start.
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Brattlie at Bratley, BRATTLIE.com.
Okay.
And you can also, I suggest, send it to Maddie or Norma, and they can send it out to everybody on their mailing list.
Alrighty. Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's good.
All right. If we have no more questions for Thomas, I want to thank him for being with us today. You've given us some very good information and it was very thorough. I
Yes.
do thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me. It's good to meet you all, and just let me know if you want me to come back at another time.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Have a
Okay,
good day,
bye.
you
You
too.
too.
All right, ladies and
Arthur.
Don't forget to tell them I'm there to go see me, because they didn't see me.
oh,
Arthur Porter is on.
Yeah, Mark.
yep, I see Arthur and Christine.
They don't know I'm present.
I'm gonna let them know.
Okay.
And Lee did not get his camera on.
No, it got where my mic is highlighted in blue and where my camera got an X, but when I try to turn it on, the X is still in the camera. And so,
Okay.
and the same thing with share, got a cross going through share. So I don't know what's that about. I
Same with
started
me.
to sign out and sign back in, but I
I
I don't know
sign
how to
out and
do
Well,
it.
sign back in. You got the same thing.
You got the same
okay.
thing?
Yeah,
Yes.
made
I still
still.
can't see the camera. I can see you guys, but you can't see me. And I can
Yeah,
hear
Okay.
okay. Yeah,
who's that mail in the corner
yeah.
on the left.
I will look for potential problems relating to this and send
Okay.
you all. I'll send
That's
it to
okay.
Maddie an email, and then all of you can get a copy of it.
Okay. All right. Let's move along with our meeting. Uh,
Okay.
we'll have our treasurer's report.
Okay. Miss Letty is here too. I'm sorry. She's
Yes.
sitting here. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to let you know, she's in our presence. Okay. I'll do the report. I'm gonna cover June, July, and August. So and the report for June, the previous balance brought forward in June was $1,348.62. And then we had a dues deposit of $28.80, which gave us a total of $1,377.42. The current balance is $1,377.42. That's also the balance on hand ending June 30th. Okay, that balance brought forward July report, which is the previous balance of $1,377.42. And then we had a deposit of $18.26, giving us a subtotal of $1,395.68. And that leaves us the balance on hand of $1,395.68.
End of August.
Then beginning August, the previous balance brought forward for August $1,395.68. Then we had a deposit of $47.40, giving us a subtotal of $1,443.08. So the current balance is $1,443.08. And that's the balance on hand. So that covered the June, July, and August reporting.
All right.
Madam
You've heard
President,
the.
Madam President, were
Yes.
all of those deposits dues for dues?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You've heard the report, the treasurer's report. What is your pleasure?
Move that the report be accepted. Yeah, I can do it.
Did I hear a second?
President, I move that the treasury report for June, July, August be accepted.
All right. It has been moved and seconded that the report be accepted. All in favor, let it be known by the usual voting sign. Aye.
Ah,
Aye.
The nays have the same option. Hearing none, the report shall be accepted as reported. Thank you very much, Lee, for that very detailed report. You do a wonderful job.
thank you, Madam President.
Uh, I have not, well, your last month's minutes were mailed to you either by U.S. postal mail or by email, which was the May meeting. And I hope that each of you got it. Well, I feel like you got it because it did not come back to me. But if that looking over those minutes, did you find anything that you had questions about? Hearing none, we will accept those minutes, the May minutes, as posted. Our June meeting was a in-person meeting at the Braswell Park in Tarboro. And I want to thank each of you for participating. I think most of you that are present here today participated at that meeting, and we had a wonderful time. So I was very glad that most of you were able to be there. Uh,
I still can't get in.
What you talk, is there a camera?
Don't do that.
okay,
Camera's on right here. See that eye?
No.
Camera's on.
so during the month of August, I polled the membership to get an idea of how we should progress with our fall meeting. And in talking with each of you that I've managed to get a hold of, there was some mixed motions about going back in person because of the upswing in the virus. So we decided to do our meetings virtually. So for the next 2 months, at least 2 months, next October, November, December, how do you feel about doing the meetings virtually for the next 3 months? Don't everybody speak at once.
I would like to do it virtually.
Okay.
You are doing an outstanding job, and we're able to get the information. And because of safety hazards and reasons, I would rather to continue virtual.
Okay. Shall we put it to a vote then? For the next 3 months, how,
I'm clicking.
if you're in favor of doing it virtually, let me hear an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anna Rush, aye.
Okay.
Norma Brown, aye.
That seems to be pretty much unanimous. So for the next 3 months, our meetings will be virtually. I will continue to mail those who do not have emails. I will send you a communication through the U.S. Postal Service. Those who have emails will receive an email. All right. Now, next month, our meeting will be virtually, and we will have a report from our nominating committee because our election should be held in November. And our nominating committee has been working, I know, because I've heard from them, and they have been working, and I'm sure they are ready to make their report. But we will get that. We will get their report next month at our next month meeting. So we'll know who our officers, and we can have nominations from the floor too. If you have somebody in mind that you want to be your president, you can certainly nominate them. So do think about it. All right. Let's see. We have a representative from Blue Cross Blue Shield would be our speaker next month. Is it next month?
No,
Norma?
Madam President, it's November.
November.
Blue Cross Blue Shield. October is the NARFE annual Blue Cross Blue Shield, which they normally held in Raleigh.
Okay. But we have not confirmed a speaker for October.
It's going to be a surprise because it's very difficult finding people who can do it virtually in their offices or other places.
All right. Very good.
The Blue Cross Blue Shield annual thing that is in Raleigh or sometimes several places will be virtual this year, and you'll be getting an invite very soon. I have talked to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and not only will they welcome your presence, but I understand this year also they'll be sending a package out to each person who joins. So if you have, like Arlene Higg here, if you have two people, both of you log in so you both get a present instead of just one of you.
Okay, thank you for the good information. All right. Are there any announcements that anyone have in mind that they want to give to us?
May I give one, Madam President?
Yes, you may.
We are changing our newsletter from NCNARFE. It used to be that we were having 4 printed copies, and it was also posted on the website and was available as a email access. But what we're going to do is we're going to change that to 6 editions, of which all 6 will be digitally available, and then 2 of those 6 will be printed. What you'll be able to do is to go on and look at our website, or just if you get the email, you'll be able to just click on it and get a GoToWebinar that you can just go through and look at everything. We're in the process of figuring out exactly how we're going to do it, but we're going to be adding crossword puzzles and Sudoku and non-political cartoons. We're not going to touch the left, the right, the center, or any other political entity in our cartoons. We're going to find other stuff that is humorous. And we're even talking about the possibility of putting on a grandchildren's crossword. So you can take your email that you get with it and send that to your grandkid and say, hey, can you do this? And again, the idea is also to add more exciting material. As you all know, it was not long ago, just a slight 20 years, that we had 9/11. And we are going to, in the October edition, have a bunch of little memorials or memories from individuals who were impacted directly by 9/11. Some of you may know Dwight Weaver and his wife, Sharon Weaver. She was actually in the Pentagon at the time that the plane hit the Pentagon. And she happened to be in a meeting in another part of the building because it went right into her section.
Wow.
And that was the only reason she was alive. And, when my wife and I sat and looked at it on TV, when they were reading the names, we recognized a number of names of individuals that were on the bottom because We lived in Brooklyn for a long time. My father was head of a health-related facility, nursing home, and one of his doctor's son was up in the building. And I had people I knew who worked there for the Port Authority. And so, you keep on remembering that day and what happened. I think you may have read the email, but I was in the regional office at that time in Burlington, Vermont, and we had visitors from New York who wanted to do business with us. And one of the gentlemen when we saw the first coverage, saw the building hit, and his wife had been scheduled to be in one of the top floors for a meeting that morning.
Mm.
Those are things you never forget.
Okay.
And in addition to that, in the future, we're going to be putting in stories about you folks. And I was thinking specifically of being up for your annual picnic, and Maddie mentioning that she was 30 years with NASA. I didn't know that. And every one of you has a history of where you worked, and you've got to have one story of who you met or what you saw that would be of interest, and we can add it as a story. And we want to do that. I'll give you one quick story that happened to me. I was a special agent with immigration, and I came in one day, and my boss told me, uh, "You've got your suit and tie on. Get your gun and go upstairs to the 14th floor to the courtroom." I said, "Okay, why?" He said, "Go, you're going to do guard duty." All right, you know, you're a young guy and you've been told by your boss to go be a guard. You got your gun, you go up and do it. What I didn't realize till I got inside was that inside the room were John Lennon and Yoko Ono, and he was becoming a legal permanent resident that day, and they were having the hearings. And there were a number of other notable movie stars and others who came to testify. You know, didn't expect it. Wasn't because I was anybody special. I just happened to be given a job that day. And I'm sure that all of you have something that just happened that day, and it's interesting. We don't need 14 pages. We just need a little story from you folks. So I encourage you to write something up and send it to me. Thank you.
Okay. I have
Would you
one question for you, Henry.
Go ahead, Gertie.
I said, do you want those events now to be sent to you?
Um, I will take them as soon as you are available to get them to me, and you can send them to the same email, bratley@bratley.com. And if I don't put it in the October one, because that's going to be primarily 9/11 stuff, it will certainly go into one of the next ones coming up, because I'm going to be looking at 2-3, and we're also going to be looking for sponsors. We're going to make it something that you don't want to pass by looking at. And
The 9/11 one, those three students that died from DC public schools, co-worker, the lady Sarah, was my husband's co-worker. And
again, send me that story.
yeah, it's a good story that I would like to share. And
Yes,
those
please do.
like maybe within 3 miles from where I was working.
Yeah. Yeah, it's things like that we all recognize that we're not just individuals who aren't impacted. There's always something or someone that hits us. And I would love to have that and be able to add it. If anyone else has more stories from that time that impacted you, or again, just a time during your government service, it's just a case of having stories to tell. And we know from having seen other federations that have actually put out many books about stories from people. And, we want to do the same thing in our newsletter, and possibly later then put it all into a little booklet that we can send out as a PDF.
Okay.
So,
All right. I have a question for Henry. I sent you a write-up of our June meeting. Did you get it? And I had Lee to send you a picture of that we took out there.
I got the picture,
Okay.
and while I'm, just bear with me 1 minute here because I'm looking in the background here to see if I remember the picture.
Yeah. And
And
the write-up that I sent was before he sent the picture.
yes, I'm looking now, and okay, I see it here, and I will have to look at it again because I looked at it quickly, and then, to be quite honest, I forgot it. And that's
Okay.
not a good thing. The other thing that I want to say is if I told my wife, she would have made me know about it every day till then, but I didn't do that. What I do want to do is I'm going to send later this week. You will get a copy of this meeting with a front and an end on it because I want you to approve the front and the end. But I'm going to make one that is new and is going to be similar to what all the others are going to look like too. So I will get that to you by Friday, and then you can say okay. And if you say okay, then I will then put it up on the website on Saturday, and you can send an email out to all your folks saying if you want to see it again, you can see your smiling face or hear your dulcet tones on the phone, and you'll be able to see this presentation as well.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that should come before us before we close?
Yeah. One last thing. In the new magazine, we're looking at putting pictures, more pictures. And I have some old ones from having visited you back when you were, pre-COVID. But if you have any, I know you sent me some, but if you have others that you want to send me, we will be happy to add them to the photo area of the website. We're trying to get everything more exciting, and since we can't get together because of COVID, we want to get people more aware of the fact that, hey, there's a lot of us out there. We have over 4,000. In fact, this morning was 4,160 members in North Carolina. And, you know, we want you to be able to get to know a few more of those folks. Thank you, Maddie.
All right. Thank you. And thank each of you for participating. And I look forward to seeing you in October. I don't know the date, but it will be in October. You will be reminded of it. Thank you so much for participating.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye.
You're welcome.
Okay, y'all have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Leaving.